in Sweden. I got your set, got the tracks, and I'm gonna play around and just work on the mix right now. I don't think we're gonna get it done right now. Also, I've got other things happening pretty soon tonight. So, but I wanted to jump in and just show you where I'm at with a huge folder of audio files. So let's get the stream up, and I'm just gonna dip right into Ableton land. And we should be in screen share right now. And here's the track. So while that's cooking, let me just get my screen up so I can see all your comments and questions and everything. It's tricky doing a big project when you can see there's when I get the bus groups in there, we got 84 tracks in the track count. My processor's hitting 18% before I even really dropped very many plugins at all. So this is gonna be a lesson in mixing efficiently and definitely using groups. Click to expand. Gabor's here, Ryan, 2 other people. Cool, let me know if you can hear everything, say hi, all that kind of stuff. Now, fortunately, the good news about this track is that in the bass dimension, there's only 2 channels. So I started with the kick and bass as usual. Kick drum before was like this, and after is like that. I used my channel strip, little bit of gain on there, little bit of high pass filter, just to 45 hertz, no gate, little compression, little EQ, and pretty straight up. So I was happy with that. And the bass line was fun. I got to do something that I don't do very often, but only the bass line here. I hit the bass mono switch. Here is the bass in full mono. Hey, Max is here. What's happening, Max? Good. Okay, that's full mono on the bass line. And there's bass with mono around 220 hertz. Why did I pick 220? Well, I checked out the bass line on a handy dandy Spectrum Analyzer. Where is the root? 55, the note A. Boom. Which means the next one up is going to be 110 hertz. That's also the note A. Another one at 220. For anybody who's been digging the theory lessons, let me just tell you, root, octave, octave. And when you have one frequency, you double the frequency to get the next octave. It's crazy. It's so interesting how the math works. So A0 is at 55. The next A is at 110. Up the octave to 110. Double 110, you get 220. What's at 220? Put the mouse at 220, read the little box. It's the note A. How about this one right here? What's that? The note E. A, B, C, D, E, the 5th. So when we're talking about how the most powerful note in the scale is the root and the second most powerful note in the scale is the 5th, here is the physics to back that up. But what did I do? I put the mono switch around 220, which means back here on the bass channel, everything below 220 is going to be in mono. Those low notes of the A, like the 2 low octaves of the note A, are going to be in mono. Everything above it is going to be wider. How wide is it going to be, Steve? Well, I don't know if there's much in there to widen out, but that was my theory. Josh Parkins, tell me about sound systems. Hey, Ricardo, how you doing here too? Cool, so kick and bass line, I got those both. You know my rules for mixing. I want to see inside the channel level, those VU meters up near peak, which means the level it's going through the channel has a maximized signal compared to the headroom in the channel. This shows you like the input level of what's going through the channel. Then these are your output volumes. A month off of work now to get just a basic rough mix up. Now the kick is in a breakdown part. That's the real kick. And now I have a foundation I can listen to. You can see that these are both piped over to the mono sub bus. And that's coming over here, going out a mono channel. And I don't think I even have anything on there. I just put a Spectrum on there. But I like it that you can see the kick drum shape clearly and the bass notes popping up above it. So if I can visually see that and I can hear the 2 parts and I feel like they're good, I can go to my analog board, bring up a little bit of a snap on that kick, jack up the low end, whatever I want to do, make it sound good. Now the drums group, this is kind of a crazy group. Okay, so I got the drums bus coming out 13 and 14, so I got a stereo pair to listen to. All these tracks, this is not, you see we have like 8 blue channels of drums right here. That does not mean it's an 8-channel drum mix. 4 channels of top kick drum. I better unmute those because I haven't really heard them in the track yet. I haven't even listened to this track all the way through. I've gone through sections. So I made a group of claps and snare drums. Oh good, there's my kick drum click. Now that might end up going to the mono low group, not sure yet. What is over in drum loops? Oh, this was a cool group. All right, this is a group of top loops, stereo top loops. And I put them all in one place so that I could kind of make sense of them. Why are you muted out? Drum loops, drums bus. That looks like a little mistakey poo. I want these going to the drum loops group. Say that 10 times fast. So what am I doing? I'm organizing my sounds so I can get my head around where to find the sound I want when it's time to mix it. Hi-hats are all in here together. Hello, thank you, hi-hats. And this is just one instrument that had 2 audio files, split mono, or split stereo, dual mono. So I put them into a stereo group, made that just one thing, so I have that instrument right there. Can mute it, use it as I want to. What else is in here? The miscellaneous percussion. This is going to be interesting because this is kind of like an unknown for me. And I don't really know what's going on in this group. I'm going to take a guess and put the high pass filter up at 50. Like, what would you do with that group of sounds, right? I don't know. I'm going to make it louder. Oh, that makes a lot more sense in the context with the rest of the mix. So my strategy right now is just find out what's in this mix, get a little bit of a listen on it. This is a cymbals group, so I can guess. I'm sure I can high pass it up to 75 hertz. Can't hear what's happening in here. So let's get ready for something to happen in there. And the reverbs. So the drums group had a bunch of reverbs happening. So what I did was I basically dropped my default channel strip on all these groups. These groups, I didn't count either exactly, but these 4 blue drum loops, the 4 blue, what the hell am I trying to say? All these blue channels that are going to the drums bus are probably like 20 or 30 tracks of audio. So I'm not going to go through one by one and drop like a high pass filter and an EQ and a compressor on every single individual channel. First, I just put a default channel strip on these stereo groups so I could get the level up, compress them, hear what's in there. Then I can go in, volume adjust, and pan each individual sound. And if that works, that might be enough. I don't know exactly how much work Matt's did on this track, but I just want to get an idea of what's in here. And I know this group is particularly cool, especially with track 18. I made it a different color because I heard it and I was like, oh, that's something that's important in this track. Okay. Let's get some more of that. Okay, that's way too much gain on there. Now we're in a breakdown. Another thing I did is in the arrangement section, you can see I dropped a bunch of markers to go through the track. Let's take just a quick little tour so I can remember what is in this track, all right? Intro. Instrumental synth thing. 3 is a drop. Section. there's like a break without the melody. Melody's back. And fade out and ending. So I hear a snare drum build coming in. You hear that? Which means we're gonna have a drop over here. Maybe I can loop that. Yeah. Huh. I was expecting more of a cymbal crash right there. But in any case, so that's what's going on there. What is in our instrumental group? I'm even gonna mute the drums. Mute my effects return. So now I'm only listening to the green group. Instruments are green. We got a bunch of pianos. Again, a split stereo that, and I had to listen to these and ask myself, what is happening on these two channels? Because they were labeled piano and house piano. And I was like, that's the same sound. So let's get that going on. What is E piano? Where is that in the mix? What does that mean? E piano. Oh, later in the track. All right. Just a little melody later on the song. Not that important. Not going to worry about it. Okay, so piano's sort of got an idea of what that's all about. They've got a channel strip, so let's mute that, see what else we got. All right, this is our electronic sound group. Are these the same? They're close, but they're not exactly the same, so I'm not going to stereo pan them. Aha. It sounds like 52 is a combination of 53 and 54, doesn't it? There's the buzzy one. And 54 is that soft one. I think 52 is a blend of 53 and 54. Okay. Ooh, there's some interesting stuff happening in there. Ah, yeah. All right, so this group is doing some important stuff. +9. Get the compressor. I'm just bringing the compressor threshold down just to activate it. I don't really want to compress anything yet. Aha. So this section is going to take some work because we got some low sounds, like the lowest note down there is around, oh, so 110, that's the note A. So this synth group, let's put a high pass filter in, let's say a $105 with a little bit of a resonant bump, because I don't want to cut the low end out. I don't have a problem with the bass, the instrument bass being in the synth group right here. Where is that instrument? And look at that, it's slowly panning. Track 56 is totally going left-right. That's interesting because it's such a low frequency sound. I'm a little surprised to see a bass note. A note with that much bass energy going back and forth. Let's chill out our plucks for a second. Pad ARP low pan has some effects and reverbs in there. So a lot of these stems, I'm doing a puzzle. I'm like problem solving here. A lot of these stems are combinations of other groups of sounds. So I'm not quite sure what's what. That's pretty clearly just one sound, but it's a little too loud for me. I love that. Oh my God, 59 and 60. Did you hear that? Those two are super cool. And those definitely need channel strips of their own because, oh yeah. I want that up loud in the track right away because it's making me happy. A lot of mixing is honestly, if you pick out sounds that are emotionally making you happy, you can have more fun with the mix and people can hear that. What is that on? 50, 59 and 60. I got my monitor My output broadcast meter is on there, so I can't quite always see the track numbers. 59 to 60. It's like a little tiny part of the waveform. There they are. Now I'm going to look at the meters and just figure out how much low end energy is in there. Around 120 will work. I love Spectrum Analyzer so much. I know I tell you like every time, but it's so useful. Now I just want to get as much out of these sounds as I can, get them cranked up in the VU meter on the input side, get a high signal to noise ratio so that I know if I put all these meters, if I put all my channels in this group at the same level, I want to have a balanced sound with them. So that's my strategy right now, is just gaining up all my channels and making them usable so I can find where they are. Compressor, I don't really want to compress it. I just want to know where the threshold is hitting. Getting better and better with that. And just for fun, let's crank it up into the limiter. Oh my gosh. Tons of sound in there. And I'm going to need to come back in EQ. Hey, Zen's back. What's happening? Now let's pull those down. Get some space for the other sounds in there. That sound is loud enough that I don't feel like I need more of it. These chords are too low. That is on 57. Where is channel 57? I'm looking for a place with a lot of audio. Okay. Yeah, this group is going to require some channel strip and love. Instrument bus, low end meter says, oh, look at that. It's kind of nicely taken care of already. Maybe because of the high pass filter on the group level. So these chords. Ha ha ha, those guys. And this one is super bouncy, which means when there's reverb. Hey, Eric Dahl, I love that thing you've been building. Track 56. So when you hear reverb in the background of the sound, that pretty much means you'll be able to compress it a bit and get more out of it and hear more of that reverb as you use compression, because like we're not trying to bring the peaks down. I'm thinking of how to like turn up the volume on the reverb in that sound without cracking the levels too hard. And I'm not even worried about my compressor settings. 4:1 is a universal kind of standard ratio you can use. It's not going to be hard. It's not going to be too soft. Sort of slow attack time, auto release. No big deal. We can come back and dial these in again later. All right. Now you can see 55, the group is starting to clip. So let's get all these levels down. Turn my monitor level up a little bit. And just ask, can we hear all the sounds in that group? I think so. Now with our plucks, these need to come up too. Can I do it at the group level? $53, $54. Right. 54 needs some help. Yeah, it is pretty. It's a nice melodic kind of a thing. We definitely exported our stems with plenty of headroom in this session, right? In this kind of situation, sometimes I think like a keyboardist, and I'm thinking like, I want a little more stereo separation, and I think left hand low, right hand high. So I'm gonna do something like this. And remember 52 was like a blend of both of those. So I could almost think about this like parallel processing. If I squash 52 super hard and bring that up, I can have more level available. So now what I'm really listening to at this moment is how does my whole entire green group sound as one unit coming into the instrumental bus. Got the synth pan, got the thing. Piano is not happening at this part of the song, which is cool because that means the composition is spread out. And we don't have too much of the same thing layered on top of itself. So let's find our piano channels. Where is piano in this song? Looks like we're coming up to a piano drop in the future. And this is gonna be a nice one because we've got all three channels. Channel 50 comes in at the end. Oh wow, the plucks are doing melody too. They wanna play this before I even get to piano. That synth is like way too obvious. Those guys are a little too loud. Okay. What is our pluck thing doing? I like the volume of the plucks on channel 51 before, but when the piano is in there, I don't think yet I'd need the plucks very much. And piano, gain this up a bit. Just out of curiosity, let's see what does our spectrum look like on that. Pretty much what you expect for a piano, a lot of mid-range and possibly a little more low end than you expect to. Piano low end. Piano's an instrument that the low end can really catch you if you don't watch out for it. So let's filter that up to 80 hertz, and I'm gonna put a 12 dB per octave slope so that it's not a steep filter cut. So I can take it up a little higher, not do something. Oh, Gabor, cool. Yeah, these sound super cool. Love it. Tell Mats Moreland, tag at Mats, M-A-T-S Moreland, because he made this track and sent us the stems so we could mix it. Got the stereo thing happening. I think I heard the other piano come in there at the end, right? There it is. All right, so that's the instrumental group. Here comes the lows. And that piano is gonna need some EQ for sure, but we're getting there. That thing's like a UFO. And I didn't even get into the effects group yet. And these are fun because if you open this channel and just let it kind of play as we're mixing, you get a lot of the spices and extra stuff happening that makes it more fun to listen. So I'm just taking this whole group, not even really sure what's in there. Look how many effect sweeps are in there. Oh my God. Tons of white noise, glitchies, little jammies going on. Let's do something experimental here. Whoa. That's like the beginning of the album 2001 from Dr. Dre. Like that THX. What do you call those stingers? What I'm going to do here is put the compressor up with 4:1, little shorter attack time, and I'm purposely going to crank this threshold down because I don't know what's in the group. And I want to hit it with some compression, hit it with some makeup, and drive the volume up on this whole group just so I don't miss any of these quiet sound effects. I know that we're losing some of the impact by having that you know, they start quietly and grow in volume. So I don't want to lose too much of that impact stuff. Like 77 is crazy. Let's bring that down a little bit. Got some long tails happening. And I'm getting a feel for, yeah, some of these are going to get a little rough in our favorite high mid frequency range, 3.5 kilohertz, which is all dialed in with a EQ cut. How about that? Let's go down -3, Q 1.5, Q3, just to dip out those high mids so it's not too screechy when some of those things roll up. Now let's go back to the drums. And check this out. I started this track at like 5 o'clock today. I went through and color-coded all my tracks. I decided which ones were going to be in which groups. It took a good hour of that. The only easy ones were the kick drum and the bass line. After that, I had to identify each one of these channels, pull them together into groups. I feel like there should be that hi-hat should have stayed in, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I got the MIXITECTURE logo on top of the channels. I don't think I want to... Did that make it go away? I just looked over at the monitor screen and realized. Let's see if that works. So now we're kind of in a situation where there's a lot of drums happening and I know we're not getting the most out of it. There's a lot of cool stuff going on and we're gonna have to figure out how to get more out of those. This is a busy group. I'm gonna have to do something here. I'm gonna have to unsolo. It gets a little tricky to have the solo on because I want to hear exactly which channels are in there. Taylor Lily. I'm gonna mute my instruments and mute my reverbs because I want to hear if there are reverbs in these drum loops already. A fun game in this situation is to ask, if you had to pick one of these loops and use only that loop, which one would you do? All right, that's kind of like a snare loop. Ooh. All right. They're totally stacked up, right? I'm still trying to mix this whole group only with using effects on the group level and see if I can mix the whole thing with just volume and pan on the channels in the group. 21 is smacking, so I can bring that down. And let's wait for some other channels to pop up so I can identify what sounds are in them and try working with those. "17 is so quiet. What is inside of 17 and 18? All right, 7 and 18, 17 and 18 are gonna get some audiophile boost. Right? Yeah, I like that rhythm, that micro rhythm in 18. So for me, track 18 is so cool. I could get down with that for just this song. Is nasty. Huh. Feels kind of glitchy, doesn't it? If you're wondering why people used to have 96 channel mixing boards, stuff like this was the reason. Before computers were powerful enough to have like super huge multi-channel sessions and you couldn't run a gazillion plugins because you didn't have enough RAM, what we would do, or what people would do, not me personally, but you'd have a mixing board this big, and you'd break out all these channels onto all these sounds onto their own analog channel, specifically so that you could go right here, analog EQ, all the way across, maybe even have built-in compression on each channel, and do half the stuff that I'm doing right now. Gain, preamp gain on the channel, easy, turn it up by feel. High pass filter in, out, EQ in, out. All this stuff that I'm doing right now of just basic channel cleanup. I mean, for me, this is like tie your shoes before you leave the house. Like the level of getting the gains together, identifying what's there, and just bringing stuff into the mix together is really not the super hard part of mixing, but it has to happen. And now I hear nothing. Doo-doo-doo-doo. And all these like bazillion little tiny decisions that you make at this stage are what forms the sound of the track later. So I'm really happy that we got the core kind of figured out with the low end right here and that drum layer, because that makes sense to me. And it's like, all right, now I feel like what this track is all about, and we can start bringing in other layers. And snare claps and stuff, snares, claps. You can just see they're all hitting on the same, the 2 and the 4. So I can just turn these up, make a little high pass filter decision, turn them up even some more. Yeah. Smacking. What time is it? 7:30. I got something to do at 8 akalaka. So what is in our kick drum group? Oh, you poor dears. I can't hear him at all. I'm not going to do that. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Where are you and what do you have to say for yourselves? Boink, 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 boink. Jack the gain in the audio file, partly so I can see it in the arrangement and find where it is in the track. All right, that's cool. 7, 8, 9. Ooh, mossy kick. Ooh, we got something backwards. And it's not in at the same location or the same time as the other one. So I'm guessing track 9 is going to have something going on. Did I skip? Wow, track 8, we added 15 dB of gain and it's still that quiet. Let's see what track 9 is all about. Okay. Well, that's what that is. Little tiny baby kicks. So these are going to be a layering situation. Definitely got that kick drum smacking. This would be a fun one to compress the crap out of it too. Let's go a little longer. Now here, when you have a ton of compression going on, you can play with your attack time to open up the snap on the front of it. When the attack time is really short, the sound is like almost muted. Now listen as I open up that attack time. And you can kind of feel how much of the sound is coming through. And then once you get an attack time that's got that kind of sound you want, then you can back way off on the compression. I got to do this with two hands. Compression, threshold, and makeup gain really go together for this exact reason. That's getting completely smacked. Now we can layer it in with our kick drums. Who's soloed? What part of the song are we in? That part of the song. Okay. Where was that snare drum build coming from? Anybody notice that? Our drum loops group. All right. We're in a growth period right now. Melody's getting lost somewhere. Where is that? Look, my drums bus is cracking. All that gain I added has messed up my staging, but fortunately that's easy enough to fix. I can literally take all my drums groups, put them down somewhere a little easier. You know why I went to exactly -12 like that? Because when I look at it, I can see it's an even number that I did on purpose. If it's like 11.7, I don't know if I adjusted it there on purpose or not, so the -12 makes it clear that I did that on purpose. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, how I go about this, or why, let me know, because I got to ditch out in a couple of minutes and be ready to go help somebody with a streaming setup, which is kind of fun. We're going to hook up streaming. So, all right, now we're in shape where I can listen through the track. I still have not listened to this track from beginning to end all the way through. And the last thing I want to do is just unmute the other groups. And see, like, what else is in here that I didn't get to yet. Oh yeah, those guys. What's our hi-hat group doing? I don't feel like we heard that properly yet. And I know the hi-hats are going to get filtered up to probably at least 200. Is that the end of the song? Where are we? Ooh. Yep, that's a hi-hat. Ooh, little crunchy ones. 25, 20, there's 25. Okay, I was just about to ask. Looks like 26 and 27 are way quieter. So what would I do if I had to get... Yeah, we're going to have to go to 26 and 27 and gain those up by hand, kind of. Channel level, whatever the word is. Plus 12 over here. That's still crazy quiet. 26 and 27. All good hi-hats go to heaven. Whoa, did I just do everybody? No. Okay. Oh, now I can actually see what's happening. Okay. Okay. And remember 25 was crazy loud? I don't know why that's only there in a couple places in the track. Look at that track. Channel 25 is only there like 4 times in the whole song. Why is that? So what I just did was I went to all 4 of these channels inside my subgroup of hi-hats. I just want to make sure I can hear all those sounds when they appear in the track, in the song. and that when they get to their hi-hat group level, this group, I know I'm hearing everything inside that group, so I can minimize it, not look at it, and now I know that I'm basically hearing what's happening in there. I can take a look. Looks like the channel's activated up to the top using most of the headroom available. Oh, Taylor, it's literally never occurred to me to attempt a song with 75 tracks. It's insane. Yeah, dude, for me too. I don't usually build tracks like this, but if you think about it, everybody uses drum racks. I mean, you might have a drum rack with 128 samples in the rack, and you don't think about it as like, oh, this drum rack is adding 128 channels to my mix. Like, go to your drum rack sometime, expand, going back to camera land, I'm gonna give you a lecture. Go to your drum rack and click the little triangles to expand your arrows that expand the mix sideways, and just look at all the, if you do that on every channel in your mix, like every instrument rack, every drum rack, everything that's like a sample based thing, if you actually did expand all those things and count every sample slice as an audio track, we would definitely have multiple hundred channels in our tracks. So I think what's happening here is that Matt's exported stems of actually every individual percussion element, like 2 stems for one little stereo sound. I would have exported a stereo mix for that, but whatever. So it seems like a big track count, but when I went through and grouped them all and identified them all, you know, it took me a good hour to label, okay, here's the snares, here's the claps, get them together. But once you get them in place, it's not mentally beyond belief. I mean, there's drums, there's kick drum and bass, there's instruments, plucks and piano, some synth stuff, some effects. Right on cue. So the strategy of mixing, it's, what am I, screen share? Back to Ableton. The strategy of mixing is the same even when you have a buttload of sounds. Oh, that part's cool. See, those effect sweeps make a big difference. Let's have a little breakdown. Taylor, I guess I do a lot of grouping summing using the drum rack itself like a rack for hats. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then another channel. Yeah, totally. So if you think of your drum racks as kind of like the groups that I have in all my blue groups, you know, I'm sure you have quite a high number of tracks at once. The thing that really made this mix possible are these containers on the end. Oh. Ran out of music. So having the technique of putting my lows in one place and my drums in one place, my instruments and my effects. Having that bus group container technique allows me to work with, I don't care if it's 7 tracks or 70 tracks, I can sort of put them all in one place and deal with it so that my session stays small. And now it actually looks like if I just count the bus groups, 10, 14. These are really, this is like a 14 channel mix sort of, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Once I get all these things packaged into little containers, I could kind of approach this like, all right, now we're in a 14 channel mix. What if this was a hi-hat drum rack on a MIDI channel instead of an audio container? You know, what if this was a drum loops drum rack with samples looping instead of, you know, an audio thing? So, 7:45, I gotta get out of here and pack it up. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me get back to camera land. Yeah, right? 16 channels and you're good to go. Starting to feel like I'm shouting on the mic because my headphone volume's up. And for the end, let's just relax with a little bit of bass and drums because it always sounds good. What's my effects unit right now? Yup. Nope. Whoa. Where's the kick drum when you need it? All the same in the end. Yeah, it's fun, man. Having analog stuff is so much fun because you can just tweak little things. Play around with what's going on. Now I'm putting the effects into a delay. Where are we in this track? I think we're at the end again, right? Can't handle it. Having a hard time finding these hi-hats. Oh, I see what happened. I accidentally hit a button to take that drum group out of the main mix. All right. I could keep doing that for quite some time, but I can't do this all night. I got something else to do in a little bit. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll keep working on this mix and come back and run through a little bit more detail after I mix the drums better, get those synths in line, EQ that piano part, and do the rest of it. Thanks for hanging out. Leave me a comment, leave me a question, and I'm about to open up another round of questions for what to teach next, because we had some great recommendations last time I asked, and I went through a bunch of them. Not all. Still working on the harmony stuff. And I'm totally open to ideas. Oh, yeah, and let me do one last special little screen share moment to tell you that there is the MIXITECTURE member site open and available with a ton of stuff unlocked. If you haven't signed up yet, go to free Ableton resources and jump in to get presets. There's a whole bunch of Ableton presets in there that are super fun to play with. Oh, my God. Incorrigible. I can't stop. And it's totally free to sign up. You hit the button and just enter your name and email address, and you get instant access. I added some new stuff, some new presets and sounds. Oh my God, there's Katie. Okay, messages coming in. The archive of sounds is a whole bunch of custom instruments that you can get access to when you become a monthly supporter on Patreon. So I invite you to do that with the Patreon membership. So here's a link at the top. And you can sign up to donate $10 a month, help me keep making these videos, doing live workshops, and making presets and things to share. And since we're in this quarantine right now, most of these courses are set to pay what you want. So if you're interested in learning more sound design with synths, with operator, with envelopes, LFOs, and fun stuff, or learning the basics of EQ, which is a great course for EQing specifically electronic sounds, click in, click the button, see what the price point says, make a donation, pay what you want. If you don't have any money and you want to get it for $0, I'm totally down with that. The only thing is, you got to use the lessons you take, because I'm going to send you emails about it. I'm going to ask how you're doing, and I want you to say that you're making tracks and sharing them in the Facebook group. So it's just like when you're a little kid at dinner and your parents are like, well, you can take that extra cake, but you have to eat it if you take it. It's kind of like that. I'm totally happy for people to grab these lessons and use them, but please use them. Don't just download everything and then have it sit on your computer and never do anything with it, because that's boring for everybody. Any last questions, comments? Nope. All right, Taylor, Ricardo, and everybody else, thanks. And thanks again, Mats, for sharing your track with us. I'll get back to you with a cool mix. All right, y'all. See you tomorrow.